See if it works. Hi!
Okay, there we go.
You?
Trying to get you a better angle. I tried to connect this thing and I broke it in the process. I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Oh my gosh.
I'm already breaking things. And of course, I'm not really good at putting stuff back together. So let's see. Well, maybe. Okay, okay. How are you?
I'm so good. You look gorgeous. Oh my God.
Lord. Thank you. I'm gonna try to connect you to this.
Okay.
So, but I'm just a little worried that. Wow, I'm really okay. I don't have magic hands. Clearly.
I mean, we're living in crazy times. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're good. I like this angle. You
Good.
look gorgeous. Oh,
Good.
so good to talk to you. Yeah, I know. My hair is so wild. Like, it's so wild.
I need a haircut desperately.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna prop you up somehow.
Oh,
yeah, no, it's like, what do we do? I mean, we're all like turning into cave women.
We really are. We have to like embrace our, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm starting to believe that women, we're just like not meant to shave. I think we're meant to just let it all loose. Clearly.
Let it grow.
Yeah, baby. Oh, so how have you been doing through all of this these last, oh gosh, like 5 months, 6 months? I don't even know how long it's been since our new normal began.
You know, I strangely have embraced it in the best way because there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
I've had moments. I've had moments where it's been a bit rocky, and but for the most part, things have been really good. I've no complaints.
Good. That's good. I think it is. It's important to look for those silver linings, and I agree. I feel like it's only human that this is a roller coaster, and we'll have our ups and downs. And but I'm glad to hear you're doing well, and I can't wait to talk to you about movies today.
Thank you. I know this is so exciting. It's our favorite subject.
I know. We could like nerd out about this for hours.
I know.
So first of all, I just want to know overall how film has kind of been a source of strength in your life.
Well, you know, I started quite young loving film. My father was a huge movie lover. In fact, we used to, back in the day when we didn't have cable and we didn't really grow up with money, so we couldn't really afford all that stuff. And but one thing he loved so much was to film, like record films that were playing on television on VHS. So it was like our hobby. We would go buy new VHSs and we would go through the TV guide together and we would pick out films that we were going to film, like record that week. And so I currently have my dad's movie collection, which then turned into, you know, that's how I got the bug. So I ended up creating my own 700 plus DVD collection, which is out of control. And so it started quite young, and it really was escapism, you know, kind of stepping out of the life that you knew and into an imaginary world, and also learning about, you know, people and their stories. And anytime we saw like a movie that was based on like, you know, a real person, it was always so fascinating to watch because it was historical and educational. So it definitely influenced my life. And then just the love of the craft itself, that all started very, very young. Both my grandfather and my father owned 8mm film cameras.
Oh, very cool.
So my grandfather, even prior to my birth, filmed movies with the family where my grandmother was the star.
Oh.
And it was adorable. You know, they filmed movies like Attack of the Killer Handkerchief and, you know, stuff that was just so bizarre and hilarious. And we would then have like family nights and watch them. And it was, you know, silent. It was all silent. There was no sound to any of it, but the images were just comical. And so I grew up on my mother's side of the family. Everyone's hilarious. And my father was a clown himself. So just the other day, my nephew and I took him on a little trip. He had a crappy summer because of COVID and didn't get to see his friends. So I took him up to Big Sur and Carmel. And sort of introduced his grandfather to him through music and through through movies. And also I took all these old eight millimeter films and transfer them onto a DVD.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So we sat and watched that like 3 days ago, and it was just like so fun for him to meet his grandfather that way.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah.
And you keep these people alive through film. You know, you see them talking and moving, and you don't have sound on what I have, but like in film, you get to keep these great actors alive, and that's just beautiful. Film never dies, right? And I love that.
Oh my gosh, you're giving me chills. I mean, I think that's why movies are so powerful. You talked a little bit about their power to educate. And I think that's why it's so important filmmakers have that responsibility. I think as actors or filmmakers, or whatever part you are in the industry, you have that responsibility to kind of understand how much power you actually have to move the needle forward, or to tell those important stories, or to create that empathy and to make that connection. And it's so powerful and so cool. And it's obviously in your blood.
Yeah, for sure. People ask, why did you become an actor? And I said, it chose me. I didn't choose it. Like, I've been acting since I was probably 3 years old for the family.
Yeah.
In some of those movies, and some of those films are lost. It's sad. My sister's in quite a bit of them, but the times changed a little bit when I was born. Things happened and people divorced. It's like, okay.
That's really cool. And I love how I think that is true. Like, was one of your first memories ever to do around sort of performance or art, or you know what I mean? Like, sounds like it's just the minute that you were born, you were kind of introduced into this world, this kind of creative, beautiful, artistic world that you just have fully embraced.
100%. And I didn't even understand that until later in life, and really through doing these interviews, when people have asked, like, how did this all start? And then you start thinking about, how did this start? And my mother's a painter. My father was, a baseball player, but he was a clown. He loved to perform. I think the reason why he was such a movie buff is because he wanted to be an actor, and he never was. And he was such a talented athlete. But, he and I he created characters for me. I'm going to put the phone down because it's starting to hurt my arm. God. You can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Good.
Okay. You're resting on a candle that hasn't been lit. But,
that's great.
Thanks. So my dad was like, he would create these characters for me as a kid, for both my sister and I. And, one of them, when my parents separated when I was 3. So I would speak to him on the phone, and he was always these different characters, and I never knew. One of them was called Papito, which is like really like a small version of my dad, because I called him Papi. So Pito in Spanish means little. And then he also had Winky. two characters that he portrayed. But I only ever got to meet Winky, and I only spoke to him over the phone. But so I grew up with like my dad using these different voices and playing these different characters. And on my mother's side is an actress. She's been in the industry for 45 years more.
Wow.
A comedic actress, and she's done fairly well in her career. And so I was always surrounded by art. And my mom was a painter, so and she was an equestrian rider. So we rode horses, we played baseball, we painted, we acted. I would put on fashion shows and sing for the family, and I would write poetry, and this was what I grew up in.
Oh, it's amazing. It feels like art was a very safe space in your household, which is, I think, such a blessing. And I think I love that your dad was a baseball player, but he had such a passion for film. And I think that's what's also really cool about film, is that it connects us all, no matter what your background is, what your profession is. it kind of enlightens, it sparks something within us. I think to have those dreams, or to have those, like you said, to escape whatever reality, which is, you know, I think always really cool. Do you remember the first film that you saw? This is tricky, but do you remember the first film you ever saw that you were like, you understood the weight and the power and the emotion that can come from that art form?
It was probably E.T.
Ooh.
I saw it 5 times in the theater, and I was 5 years old.
Ugh.
And I loved it so much. And I probably didn't understand happening other than that, you know, an alien, and he's so cute.
Yeah.
There were emotions being expressed, and you know, a lot of kids love movies where kids are starring in. So it's, you know, we had this little boy, we had Drew Barrymore, for his name, but I remember just loving the suspense of it, loving the emotional side of it, loving the magic in it. I didn't know who Spielberg was, but I just loved the film, and I loved going to the movie theater. I think that was the first time I went to the movie theater and I didn't get out of my seat and run across the stage, because my mom said I did that quite often.
Oh my goodness.
They're like, "Where's Lana?" And
like, look at me. Why are you watching this movie?
I was always like, just trying, you know, I was a little crazy kid, but I couldn't sit still. Kind of like that as an adult too. I like to keep moving. Yeah, that film, and I also remember loving Dark Crystal. Those were two of my favorites as a kid. Yeah,
I'm told I look like one of the characters from Dark Crystal.
The girl.
I've gotten that. I got that at a bar once. It was like, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, they're puppets, but like, you don't look like a puppet. But
I'll take it. It's fine. I'll take it.
But they could have molded her from your face, and like, yeah, she had this long blonde hair and a very similar face. And
it was really funny. I was like, okay. No, but I think that, you know, you said it about E.T. I think that Spielberg does that so beautifully, where he combines this youthfulness, this innocence, but really evokes so much emotion, where you don't really understand at that age why you're getting like the butterflies and why your chest is, you know, welling up with emotion, but you love it and you kind of embrace it.
yeah.
And it's such a beautiful, warm feeling, I think.
Yeah. And you know, film for me up until the age, you know, till I realized like, oh, I'm super influenced by this particular actress. Wow, what a great performance. How could I do that? For me, it was really about sharing an experience with family. You know, watch a movie together, and what should we watch? And so some of my selects have been films that I watched with my dad that had great impact on me. Little Fugitive, for example, was one that I shared with my Aunt Candy, and watched that with her all the time. And, you know, the Jesus of Nazareth pick, like, my father was super religious, and we used to watch every biblical movie, like so many times, but it was a commitment, you know, it was, let's do this together. And, you know, make dinner together, and then we would watch something together. And it's that moment, especially now that I don't have him in my life, through film and through music, I can keep him alive. I actually celebrate him every birthday, the day that he passed, on his anniversary, and I do it with music or film.
Oh,
and
beautiful. That's a beautiful way to honor him.
Yeah.
I love that. And you said something really great about the film Little Fugitive. You said the naturalism and honesty in this film is what really influenced me the most. Joey was not acting, he was being himself, a skill often lost on actors, which really hit me. And I think a lot of folks don't realize how incredibly difficult it is as an actor to sort of be so natural and to be so uninhibited in a role. Can you talk a little bit about that and your passion for that film?
Yes. So I saw that film probably, I would say, around 6 years old.
Wow.
And later I learned that it was Scorsese's favorite movie, and it inspired him to become a filmmaker.
Wow. Good taste you got.
I know. I was like, all right, I picked the right career. I just remember seeing Joey, and I remember Coney Island. You know, Coney Island place again. I went to with my family, and so it's memories shared with people I love. And
Mhm.
when I watched this film, we can all connect to little Joey, especially when you're a little girl, right? You're like, yeah, that's how I see Coney Island, because you see Coney Island, experience it through his eyes. Like, you know, he's at a particular level and you only see like the adults from here down, you know?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's just like, yeah, that's how I see the adults. You never saw their heads. You're kind of like, head. So I really connected with Joey just on a human sort of kid level.
Mhm.
He was not a known actor. He was just a real person that they hired, and real person like the rest of, but
He's human.
not real, but Joey is. But yeah, he was so adorable. You just wanted to, you know, he is just living in these moments. He's just being himself. You know, it's moment to moment with him. It's experience to experience. And I think in acting, often we are planning and we're making choices, we're preparing, and all of that's important. And then you have to, as an adult, let it all go and fly,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
that's necessarily easy for a lot of actors, and we think we have to perform. Don't
Mhm.
step into that thinking I have to perform. Joey's like, I want a hot dog. I want like roller coaster or the parachute, you know, drop. I on that. Like it
Mhm.
was just him experiencing Coney Island.
Mhm.
And I don't think he was aware of the camera at all, which is great. A lot of actors are aware of the camera and
Mhm.
have to a degree. So it's like you can't not be aware, because you also have to be skilled to know how to play with the camera, have a
Mhm.
relationship with the camera. But then you also have to forget it's there and just be a
Yeah.
real person and be in the moment. So I think as an adult, it gets harder, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
actors that are, they're just, you know, they have it, they're uninhibited, they're just
Yeah.
living, and it's beautiful. And then sometimes as they get older, they become more self-conscious.
Mhm.
It's that's why I truly believe the work in this field never,
Yeah.
you're constantly having to grow and you're constantly being challenged and you're having to go, okay, what works then? What did I lose? What do I need to bring back? You know,
Mhm. I feel
yeah.
like, yeah, and as people too, it's like we always have to be aware that there's always growth to be done. And I think Little Fugitive is such a beautiful film for young kids to watch now, but also for adults to revisit and remember that feeling of not caring so much and that feeling of just, you know, I don't know, embracing the little things in life like hot dogs. You know.
Yeah, and you know, cotton candy, and
Mhm.
it's fun to watch that movie because you really see New York back in that day, you
Oh,
know, 1953. It was, I'm not sure.
1953. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So
Wow.
you see Coney Island and like, and how overpopulated it is, you know, especially given now that we're so like, we have to practice social distance and we're so segregated and it's like so heartbreaking, right? But you watch this movie and like everyone's piled on top of each other, and
Mm-hmm.
no one cares about what you look like, color, whatever,
Yeah.
ethnicity. Everyone's just there with their
Yeah.
loving each other. And
Mm-hmm.
about New York is very inclusive. It's like everyone's on the train together. Everyone's, so I grew up sort of like accepting everybody of
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
whatever you're into. I don't care. Culture doesn't matter. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this movie has that vibe to it. It
I
just
love that. That's
really,
important, especially for right now, I think.
yeah, it is. Everyone should just watch that movie. It's one of my favorites of all time.
You know what? I've never seen it. So
Love it. You're
I'm
absolutely
gonna like, and the fact that it's like one of your favorites and Scorsese's, I feel ashamed, and I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
well. Like I said, it was like such an. In fact, I think if you buy the DVD now,
Mm-hmm.
just and I have it on DVD. But when I bought, but now because we're talking about Coney Island, my accent's coming out.
Oh, I love it.
Bought
I'll get my Rhode Island accent in there.
perfect. So when I bought the DVD, it said that there was a special intro by Scorsese, and he talks about why he loves.
Oh, I love that. And for everyone watching, Yeah, if you go to thecherrypicks.com, you can see Lana's full list, and we'll tell you exactly where you can rent it or buy it and all that good stuff, so you can watch these films. All right, let's talk about some other films on the list. What about Whatever Happened to Baby Jane?
Whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Oh, it's a good one. All right, you say something really cool here too. You say, I love getting into the minds of these characters. I want to understand how they became this way. The why and how is what I find most intriguing, and then digging deep to explore more. And this immediately makes me think of your own career, because I feel like you are so brilliant at embracing and doing, you are the duality of character. You just do so brilliantly and effortlessly. And so I would love to know how that film has personally impacted your own work, because I see that. I see the love for this type of filmmaking in your own work.
Thank you. Well, psychology plays a huge part in this, and it's my love for psychology. And I think that especially when you're creating a character, you're not just creating the body and the voice, but you're creating the mind, right? So I think it's really important for actors to know psychology. You practice, psychology 101, and just like understand the basics. In developing another really human being, you have to understand how mind works.
Yeah.
When I watched this film, I was captivated by Bette Davis. I just thought, she is completely out of her mind. And it's so easy to judge her.
Yeah.
She's crazy. What's wrong with her? She's evil. But is she? I mean, or did she become like that? And that goes back to my character as the evil queen. I remember when we started filming once, I thought, my God, everyone's going to hate her. Like, she's such a bitch, but why? How did she become this way? And Bette Davis's performance for me was like the epitome of like the acting, that work that I wanted to do. The leading ladies didn't really, like, I loved watching them, but I found them kind of boring.
Yeah.
The stories didn't really like touch me, move me, or inspire me. I liked putting on a hat and a wig, and I liked dressing up like different characters, boys, girls. It didn't matter. I liked portraying a character. And seeing Bette Davis step into this role, it was a true character. And it was so colorful and so delicious. And she didn't leave anything on the plate. I mean, she just devoured it all and gave it to us. And just captivating to watch. And I realized then that this was craft. This was an art form. And this was something I had to learn. So that movie really inspired me, kind of put me on the track of like, I'm going to do this, and I need to understand how to do this. And, without saying my age, although everyone probably knows how old I am, it's been a good probably 30 years of training and studying for me. There's so much to learn still. But I love getting into the minds of these characters. I think that, when you're playing a character with these psychological, mental challenges, you can't judge them. Never judged Regina, Evil Queen, for her actions. I just try to understand why she did them. I didn't list all of the films because there's so many. Like, one of them is Fatal Attraction for me, and I use
that's great.
To watch her and understand her pain and her needs and her desperation, and that's why she ended up doing the things that she did. And she had some mental issues, clearly, but underneath all that is a real human being with needs and desires, insecurities and fears and doubts and loneliness. But when you come from that place and playing these characters, those choices make the characters more relatable than just playing crazy, because you can't play crazy. Playing crazy isn't captivating.
No, not at all. And I think that's what's so cool, to bring it back to Once Upon a Time for a second, which I always loved about the show too, is that it embraced that side of Regina, which a lot of, whether it's films or series, they, like you said, a lot of times women are very just labeled as the,
emotional,
one-dimensional, people. And gosh, the roller coaster of Regina's ups and downs, and she really, I mean, that show really kind of on a larger scale touched upon what's in all of us, which is this idea of we're always struggling with what's right or wrong, even if it's on a small scale, or like in Regina's case, you know, actual evil queen versus not in the fairy tale world. But that was what was so brilliant about not only your performance, but I'm so happy that the show embraced that and really ran with it full force, which I think is what made this show so special. But okay, cool. Yeah, so I want to talk lastly about La Vie en Rose, because you mentioned earlier about your also love for music and how music also reminds you of your dad, and that's a very special place in your heart. And I like to always talk about music on this show because I think it's so important in filmmaking. I think it's like after the credits end, sometimes the music from that film is what sort of it settles in with you, and it like digs deep inside and really makes you start sort of thinking or feeling emotions that maybe you didn't while you were watching the film. So I would just love to hear a little bit about your relationship with music and film.
Well, I love to develop playlists for each character.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so important because music is, I mean, again, nostalgic. It stirs up I'm huge when it comes to lyrics. I love a great lyricist, right? It's like that's why Joni Mitchell is one of my favorites, because she's just an incredible poet, really, right?
Well, you're a poet. You were saying you wrote poetry.
I have. I've done. It's funny because I wrote some. I need a muse these days, you know. Like it doesn't come as freely as it did when I was younger. I just went direction, but I have a book of poetry from when I was 7, 8 to about 15.
Wow.
And then I put it down and I became a teenager, and teenager did all the things you shouldn't have done. And it you know, and it pulled me away from poetry. But I love lyrics, and also, you know, finding songs that are like what this character listened to. I always thought Regina would listen to Journey, you know, like she would just be totally. I don't listen to Journey, but I think she would listen to Journey or the Eagles or something.
I love that.
I think she would really be into like classic rock.
Just to like get it out. She just like get all that angst out.
Yeah, and I would listen to a lot of that. Now, the Evil Queen is definitely more operatic, and when I remember when I was developing the character for myself, obviously Eddie and Adam created her. Well, Walt did, but you know they took her to the next level. But while I was working on her psychology,
Oh no. Oh, it's okay.
weirdly, my phone, I looked up and it was black. I was like,
I was like, what happened?
does that happen? It's weird. It
does. It's just the you know, the beauty of Instagram Live.
Well, let me go back. I was in the car. I was in LA, and it was before we went up there to film the pilot episode. And I just got the part, and I was driving down La Brea, right by Franklin, and those who are from here know where I'm talking about. And Franklin and Hollywood, I was right there. I was listening to NPR and some beautiful. Damn it, I'm not going to remember the name of it. Sorry, but I'll post it. But I was just listening to this voice. It came on at night. It's probably 10:30 at night. Beautiful operatic's voice comes on, and this music was so dark and so like it just penetrated deeply. And I thought, this is where the character lies.
Wow.
And it turns out that song is actually a poem, which I didn't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll post about. I'll tweet about.
Yeah, I'm curious about this song.
I listened to that before every Evil Queen scene that I had.
Oh, wow.
I did it for a while until I got like, okay, it's not working anymore. I need something else, right? But it really put me in her shoes and deepened the character for me at a level I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't have the song. Anything else, but like that song, as soon as I heard it, this is the Evil Queen song. It just is. It says like something about taking your soul, something about taking your heart.
Oh,
And
wow.
like, oh my God.
You're like, this is perfect.
It was perfect. And so that's definitely on the playlist. But music it has a huge influence on me. I am a collector. I've not too many things. I'm selective because otherwise I would be a hoarder, and I am kind of that. I'm getting back. But I have a huge collection of music and a huge collection of DVDs and movies. And that's what I like to collect. When I was a kid, I collected stamps and stickers and stuff, but and books. I have books, DVDs, and music, and that is everything for me. So, yeah.
I love that. You must just be constantly creating in your mind. I feel like you're the type, and you please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when you read, you're envisioning or you're hearing, and when you're listening, you're seeing and you're feeling. And I think that's a true gift. So,
100%. It's funny. I was like, what have I done this hiatus? And then I was like, what have I done? What have I done? And I was like, okay, I'm painting again. I started writing. I started, recording a song. I started a clothing line. I was like, I just want to stay creative. It's the joy of my soul.
I love it. And I'm telling you, I got to get my Keep It Regal mask. I can't wait for that. I got to get one of those. Those are so cute.
Thank you.
Well, this was so fun. We're actually out of time. I could talk to you for hours and hours about everything. But
I know, likewise. That's why I said asking to put this list together was the hardest thing for me. And I just had my assistant go through. I said, we need to reorganize all my DVDs because they were all over the place. And she just alphabetized all 700 plus DVDs. I was like, I love you. She's the best. She put it all together for me. Her brain works in that way. She's brilliant. And
I love that.
Yeah. And it was great. So it was fun to kind of flip through all of them. Once done, it was part of the project. I wanted her to do that so then I can go through it and go, okay, which are the ones I want to talk about here? And there's a list if you go to cherrypicks.com. So,
oh yeah, and it's fantastic. And what I love about the list too is it's not just one genre. It's not from one time period. You really, invite us into your soul and how movies have really truly affected you, which is what I love about the Spotlight series and the Cherry Chat series. So thank you so much. And everyone go watch The Tax Collector too.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Please.
Oh my gosh. Brace yourself, baby. It is a wild ride. It is a wild ride. It's great.
You know how that is. It's dark and edgy and gritty. So
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun one. So thank you so much, Lana. I really, truly love this. I hope we can do something soon. And just thank you so much. All right. Have a lovely rest of your day.
And you all. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.